Yeah, so today I'm going to show you all how to do intuitive collage. It's a digital collage portrait, and I'm going to be using the app. It's called Bazzart. So normally when you download this app, if you do in the future, you get a 7-day free trial. And if you end up liking it, it's $7.99 per month and $48 per year. So it's a great app.
Cassandra, can you spell the app name?
Yeah, definitely. It's Bazzart. Yeah, so it's kind of a weird name, but we work with it. So it's a really good photo manipulation and editing graphic design app. You can do a lot of things with it. You can create collage art, do things for your Instagram or Facebook. You can make birthday cards, logos, Zoom backgrounds. It's got a lot on it. And you can use an iPhone, an iPad, or an Android. Sometimes I use a stylus when I am creating, and sometimes I don't, so that's optional. And then there's a lot of different tools that are in it, such as like there's filters and layers, there's cropping and eraser and stickers. And so I'm going to show you all of that today. So the cool thing about the app is it has a stock in it, so you can pull from the stock. But it also allows you to pull from the internet and your camera roll. So some people will take pictures of things that they want to put in a collage, and that's how they create. And then when I'm creating a portrait collage, the portraits, I always want the person to like show the top of their head, and usually from like the chest up is a good portrait to use when creating them. And so, like Ali said, I'm from the Bay Area. I'm a visual artist. I create jewelry. I love herbs and botanicals and poetry, and then I of course love collaging. So one of the most important things for me when I'm creating is to first set an intention for the piece that I'm going to make. And setting an intention would look like, you know, I'd probably put out a candle and then I'd close my eyes and ask for, you know, the colors, the animals, the herbs or flowers, the elements to come through that are going to connect with that person and resonate with them, so that I'm creating something that the person that commissioned the piece, that it resonates with them. And so I am mostly inspired by the 4 elements, the cosmos, the energy of color, and the connection that we have to the animal and the plant kingdoms. And my passion is really to just create beauty in the world through intentional art. And so I just wanted to share one thing that I wrote about my process, intuitive collaging. So it's a process of quieting your everyday mind and inviting imagery to express the story of your inner world. An intuitive collage is an image that you create that reveals something to yourself. It is a dance with images that come together rhythmically to create a spiritual masterpiece. This art may show you pieces of yourself that without it would have remained hidden. These images bring forth the secretive spaces unlocked in your psyche, waiting to be brought to light. All right, so that's a bit about the app and how I create. So I'm going to show you guys some examples. Let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, can everybody see that fine?
Yes.
Okay, great. So these are some examples here. So this is Maggie Rogers. She's a singer. So you can like create fan art. And I chose to like put the fire element in there. So actually what's behind her is lava, but I used a filter to create it to make it pink and yellow, so that it goes along with the flowers that I chose as well. Her music is like indie pop, so I chose like vibrant colors that go along with like the music that she makes. And usually when I'm creating like an image of a celebrity or like a singer, I'll play like their music in the background to bring in inspiration. This is a different type of collaging that I do. It's not the self-portrait one. But I just wanted to, that's actually myself, place myself in like something that I called the Enchanted Forest, where I placed like mothers with their children, animals, and I use filters and blending tools for the flowers that I put on the ground. And then the bubbles that are in it, that is an overlay filter that you can use. And then here's something that somebody commissioned from me, where I have the chrysanthemum flower and the birds of paradise here and the bighorn sheep. And she really loves Egyptian culture, so I put in the scarab on the top, but their energy is very like bright and bubbly, and so that's why I chose like oranges and like the sun in the upper right corner, because I thought that those would connect with them. This is Zoe Kravitz. I noticed that I'm showing a lot of orange and bright colored photos. Yeah, she is an actress. She's Lenny Kravitz's daughter. And I put calendula flowers all around here. Okay, and then, yeah, these are just a few other examples of things that you could do. You could put planets, there's stickers that you can use. There's like flashes that you can use as well. And I love this one. This is something that I did for somebody close to me, that her mother, who passed away a long time ago. And so I put carnations and rose and baby breath in here. And then in the background, I blended together like water and like a blue teal color. And then that's a self-portrait, that's me. Yeah, and that I think is the last one. And so I'm gonna go ahead and go to the Bazaart app, and we're gonna go ahead and start to create. So the first thing you do is you press the plus button sign down here. And the app, you can either start from scratch or you can start with a photo. I always start from scratch. I just like it to be a clean slate. And so the first thing that I do is I look down here at all of my icons and I move to the right and I pick the size that I'm going to create for the image. I always pick Instagram portrait size, but there's so many that you can choose from. So that's the one that I like to do. So everyone knows, the top right is where you can save the image. So sometimes in between when I'm creating, I don't want to lose my work, so I'll just save it just in case. Sometimes the app can crash, and that can be pretty frustrating if you lose your work. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm going to pull in the portrait that I'm going to use. And that's the photos button on the bottom left. And today I'm gonna create one of Alicia Keys. So you can enlarge the photo or you can make it smaller. There's like dots on each side of the square where you can just hold that down and that can enlarge it. You could also use your two fingers to just like spread them out to make it larger, or spread them, or bring them together to make it smaller. And I want the portrait to just be her, so I want to erase that background, and there's an easy button for that. It's right down here, magic, and so it's going to completely take out the background.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite trick.
I love
it's easy now. I feel like all these apps now have such great background removers, whereas back in the day you'd have to go in and filter it out yourself.
Right, it makes it so much easier because you know you don't want to take like so much time like erasing everything and trying to cut it. Yeah, and especially if you don't have a stylus, it's hard to cut it out. Like if you're using your finger, it's too thick. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and position her in the middle here. Now, if I want it to be completely centered, that red line indicates that it is in the center. So that is pretty perfect for me. And I'm just gonna exit out there. Okay, so the next thing that I do when I'm creating is I pick a color for the background. So I click this background button here. And there's so many different things that you can choose from. There's solid colors, there's gradients, pastels, crystal. I always pick a solid color first. And so I'm just gonna kind of go through here and pick something that I feel would look good with this image. And I'm thinking of like Alicia Keys' like music, and it's pretty like chill, and so like blues maybe even like a purple. I actually kind of like that here. So I'm gonna keep that purple and I'm gonna click done. Okay, so now we have the background. And so I always put a shape in the center right behind them. That just makes the portrait pop. So on the bottom here, just go to the icon where it says shapes. And I'm just going to pick a circle for today. Okay, and so we're gonna do the same thing where I can enlarge it with both of my fingers. I want it to be about that size. And I want it to be centered. All right, so the next thing that I'm gonna do is I want that shape to be behind her. So there's a button down here that says back. I'm just gonna click on that and it goes right behind her. Very easy. And I want to change the color. So I'm gonna click fill down here. And like I said, there's a bunch of different colors that you can choose from. I can choose a solid color if I want, or I can choose a gradient. There's like some ombre ones. So I'll just kind of poke around here and show you guys some things that they have.
This is so cool.
Yeah. Sometimes I like to use like a glitter one. I think I'm gonna go back here and choose something a little bit darker. So maybe, I think I like that. That one's good. So it's a fun process where, you know, you're just using your intuition when you're going through and picking out like the colors and what you think like resonates with the image. Okay, so now we have that. There are some other things that you can do that I can show you. So there are filters here. Like if I wanted to change the color of the portrait, I can go to the filter button. But normally I keep the portraits just the normal one. I think it looks the best. Okay, and so the next thing that I'm gonna do is I want to create something in the background. I usually pick like an element and I blend it in with like the purple. And so I'm thinking I'm gonna do something with water. So I'm gonna go back down to the photos here. And this is what I was talking about, where you can pull either from your camera roll, that would be photos, there's stock, that's Bizarre stock, and then there's also the web on the bottom. I usually use the web. I think it has a lot more to offer when I'm searching for something. So I'm just gonna go ahead and type in water and I'll see what comes up. And so you get a lot of different images that you can choose from. And like this is something that's gonna be blending in with the background. So I'm gonna look for something, like I don't wanna get a faucet or anything like that. I'm thinking that this one right here would be good. So I'm gonna enlarge it as big as the photo. And I'm gonna click that button again back. Okay, so we want to be able to see the purple come through. So I'm just gonna move to the right down here. And I'm gonna click the blending button. So there's a bunch of different blending things that you can choose. I usually like to use screen. There's overlay. I think that the overlay one looks pretty good. So I'm gonna click that one. And I want it to be just a little bit more transparent so I can see more of the purple. So I'm gonna click opacity. And I'm just gonna move that over to the left until it gets to a point where I'm satisfied. And I think that looks pretty good for me. Okay, and then I'm gonna exit out. Okay, so on the top here, the two squares, that just shows me my layers. So far we have 4 layers. Okay. All right, so the next thing that we're gonna do, this is where I really start to create and start to bring in, you know, I'll put in like stickers and I'll put in flowers and animals. And so I'm just gonna put in some flowers here. So I'm thinking that I wanna put in an orchid. So I'm gonna go back to photos down on the left and I'm gonna type in orchids. And I'm gonna look for one that I think is gonna work pretty well with that photo. So I'm thinking maybe this one would look nice. So here's where we can use that tool, Magic. So I'm gonna click that. And now it doesn't always cut everything out perfectly. So you could click Refine Cutout to erase some of the areas that you don't like, or you could go down to the bottom here and there's an eraser button right here. Okay, so here's where I'll show you how to erase. You just use both your fingers to go in, and I try to get as close as possible. And you'll use your finger or your stylus to just erase. Now, for the sake of today, I just want to get it so that I can show you guys on the demo. I might not erase it perfectly. Yeah, you can just go ahead and erase everything in here, what you don't like. All right, and I'm gonna see if I want to keep that other little flower there. So I'm just actually gonna move this with my fingers. You just like hold it down and turn it. Until you position it into a spot that you like. So I think that looks okay. Now you can do multiple things with it. If you want it to just be that way, you can keep it like that, or you can blend it in. I think I'm gonna keep it normal though, and I might just brighten it up just a little bit. Yeah, so there's also an adjust tool. The adjust tool has exposure, it has contrast, saturation, and all of that good stuff. All right. And then let's pick another flower. I think I want to do an amaryllis. I'm gonna try this single one to see how it looks. There's also a button here where you could just turn it. And so that one, I'm just gonna go ahead and put that right here. And I'm gonna see if I want to use the blending tool. But that one I actually think I'm gonna keep it normal. And maybe I want to use a filter. I can make it a little bit lighter. Yeah, so I like the deep color in it, so I'm gonna keep that. Okay, so we have a few minutes left, so I'll show you the stickers tool. There's a stickers tool here. I like to use the gold one a lot. The gold one has, I like to use like the circle if I'm using a circle shape, excuse me, behind the person. Sometimes I'll use a circle to just go around that shape. And yeah, it positions it for you. And so this is where I'll go to the layers tool on the top, because I don't want the gold to be in front of the flowers, but I want it to be in front of the background. So I'm gonna go to the layers tab. And when you want to move your layer, you just either hold it down with your stylus or hold it down with your finger, and like a shade will come up behind the square, and you'll just hold it to the left until you get to the spot where you want it to be. And that's where I want it to be. And some other stickers that you can use on the top here. I like to use the flashy, or it's flashes sticker. So I'm thinking maybe this one would look good here. And I'm gonna make it bigger, but I don't want it to be orange. So I'll go to the filters and see if there's a different color that would look good. I'm thinking maybe that blue would look good. So I'm gonna go to the layers again on the top. I'm gonna hold it down and I'm gonna drag it to where it needs to go. And that is where I think it should go. And then the last thing that I will show you, so there's an overlay tool here. If you're making like a birthday card for somebody, there's like a confetti button that you could do. There's a lot of fun, like you could put glitter on it. So yeah, that's if you want it to be a video. I usually just pick like, you know, the colors that I think resonate with that person, or there's also like rainbow ones. So I'm gonna go through here and see like what looks good. And there's like red and blue and pink tones in this. So I think that that looks really nice where the red is just on the top left. So I'm gonna keep that one. All right, and that's the image that we have.
I love it. Now, what can you do with this image? Like, how do you output it? I mean, can you turn it into a JPEG or into?
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that it turns into a JPEG, and that's where you'll just go to the top right and save the image. And then that saves to your camera roll. You could also, you know, click Instagram if you want it to go straight to your Instagram. I know that you can make WhatsApp stickers on here. So if anybody uses that tool, and you could put it on Facebook or text people too.